right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to piggyback, if you will, off the last video on choosing our market. Now that you've had some time to play with it, you've chosen a market, what's next? If you remember back to a couple of videos ago, I talked about understanding the motivated seller and the workflow that we go through, right? So what to do next is actually kind of logical if you think about it. We're gonna go find, for the areas you've chosen, right? We're gonna go find the owner's information. That's simply what we're doing here, okay? The video is called Setting Your Search Criteria because that's what's important, but in layman's terms, we are going to go find the owner's information in the areas that you've chosen. So the first thing we need when going to find our seller's information is we need a data provider. We need a data tool, okay? I'll have my link to data tree below. I've tried all of them. We get a very tiny affiliate, like it's so small, it's almost comical. If you use our link below, we'd love for you to do it. If you got another place you get data, that's great. But for land, data tree has been the best that I have found. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop into data tree, we're gonna choose our area, and then we're gonna set the criteria, okay? So that's what we're gonna walk through in this video. I'm gonna do a high level of it here. Again, we're including some bonuses with this course that will allow you to kind of watch me go A to Z on doing this once. So you'll see me go more in depth there. But I'm gonna jump over to my computer, I'm gonna jump into data tree, and I'm gonna show you how we choose an area and set our search criteria. Okay, so what I have on my screen here is, this is Apache County, Arizona, okay? This is Apache County, Arizona. So you can see here on Google Maps, this is Apache County. If you went through the exercise I just did, I guarantee you would find land here in Apache County. It's a very popular place for land investors, especially if you're looking for cheaper deals. You can definitely buy, you can sell. I've done it probably over 100 times out here, so I do know it works. So I'm gonna use this area as an example, okay? And I do know, just from my personal experience, that areas right around Sanders and Chambers and Holbrook and some of the areas down here, so for example, in this area, and in this area, and in this area, I know that there's land for sale, and there's deals I can do because I've researched that area before. And so let's go and do an example here. So, all right, there's Sanders. You can see same thing. I'm just gonna choose a subset of it. And how I do this is I come in here and I choose this drawing tool, okay? And you can lower that. I'm gonna choose this drawing tool. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna choose an area kind of around here, around Sanders, okay? Because I know there's land out here that meets my criteria. And oh, come on. Hang with me. Welcome to the real land investing world. All right, so we're gonna start our deal here. I'm just gonna do a big loop here. I'm gonna kind of go here. I'm gonna double click and close it off, okay? So that's the area I said I'm gonna push apply. Now here in data tree, it's saying there's 11,000 results found in this area. What do you think, right? You think there's land for sale there? Definitely is, okay? So there's 11,000 parcels in this area for sale. What we need to do now is we need to edit our search criteria. That's why this video is called our search criteria, right? So in the previous video, we did that exercise we just did of, we found the area, now we went into data tree to circle it. Now what we need to do is we need to set the search criteria, right? We don't wanna get all 11,000 because they don't all meet what we want. So the goal of this video is for you to figure out your search criteria to set, all right? So I'm gonna hop back over to the computer here. And in data tree, how we do this is we click this Edit Advanced Search Criteria. And I already have this kind of simplified here. So the majority of things that we're gonna wanna decide are here on my screen right now, and I'm gonna talk through them with you, okay? The first thing we need to decide, okay, very important, is it a piece of land, vacant land, or is it a house, all right? So on my screen here, I'm gonna go to land use, I'm gonna type in VAC for vacant, I'm gonna click this guy here. You can take out industrial and commercial if you want. I normally leave them in, but that's fine. So I did that, and now I'm gonna push get count. So we drop down a little bit. Obviously there's a lot of vacant land out there, all right? So for this area specifically, it's very, very cheap, I know that. So if I was targeting this area, and I wanted to do deals where I could make $10,000, well, I know that they're gonna have to cost at least $20,000. Hopefully that makes sense. If I wanna make $10,000 on a deal, and we typically buy at 50% or below market value, the deal would have to retail for $20,000 in order for me to buy it at $10,000 or less and make my profit, right? So what you need to do is you need to determine the price per acreage in that area. So in this area, I know it's about $500 an acre. So if I wanted to do any deals in this area that meet my criteria, they would have to be 40 acres, because 40 acres, right, times 500 an acre is $20,000. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say the acreage needs to be between. Now here's a little hack for you. Things aren't always just cut up exactly as 40, okay? So I normally jump down to like a 10% off. So I'm just gonna say 36 point, I'm just gonna say 36, and then you can set an upper limit if you want to. For example, I could say I want 36 to 120 acre parcels, all right? So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my count. So now we know there's only 900 properties in that area that meet that criteria, right? If I go back to the screen and I open this up, if I go down to 4, watch how many will pop up, because there's a lot of 5-acre properties out here. Thousands pop up, right? But for me, I'm gonna wanna go with 40 acres, and I'm gonna set my search criteria as 40 to 360, all right? So that is my acreage range. That's the first thing you need to decide, right? Is what is my acreage range, okay? The second thing is what kind of land, or what am I targeting? Pretty simple for us, vacant land, so you gotta choose that. All right, those are the 3 biggies. Location, where do I make my circle? Okay, second, what kind of land am I targeting? Vacant land, you gotta choose that. And then third is what's your acreage range, right? Just to reiterate on that, price per acre, you can generally determine for an area, okay? I wanna make sure that the properties I'm buying have enough margin for how much money I wanna make, okay? For my business, it's $10,000, all right? It's actually $20,000, but for a long time it was $10,000, okay? I wanna make $10,000 on my deal. So I need to make sure the properties I'm targeting in my mailer are worth at least $20,000. If they're not worth $20,000, then there's not much of a likelihood that I'm gonna be able to buy them with enough margin to meet my goals, right? Now, of course, that can change a little bit. 17,000 you buy for 7, 12,000 you buy for 2,000, right? That can change, but for the most part, we target 30 to 50% of market value for our offers. So we wanna make sure the property's normally worth about double, minimum, double of what our margin is. For me, it's 10,000. For you, maybe 2,000. Take it for what it is. So let's hop back over here to data tree. This is pretty much it, guys. So like, look, we got 699 results here. Okay. What are some other things? So let's do this real quick. I'm going to go down to, because I know what this is going to do. I'm going to go down to 0.25. And this is going to add in a bunch. So maybe let's go up to 1. Okay. 1 acre. And just for context, in this area, there was a lot of properties that were subdivided at 1 1/4 acre. So I'm gonna say 2.5. So you see how drastically it changes, right? Let's go back to this actually and say that this was 1.25 acres. Okay, so I've lowered my acreage. Now you can see it's at 1.25, and I've got the accurate count, which is 5,000. All right, we got 5,000 results here. And what you may be thinking, or as you get to doing this, maybe saying, I don't wanna send 5,000 mailers to that area. I don't have the budget for it this month. I'm not that confident in that market. I want to send less, all right? So there's a couple things you could do. The first thing I want to say is everybody's a candidate, okay? So people ask me, should I remove corporations? Should I remove LLCs? Should I remove this, that, or the other? I've bought from both ends of the spectrum. I've bought from somebody who's younger than me. I bought from somebody who's on their deathbed. I've bought from LLCs. I've bought from corporations. I've bought from churches. I've bought from a lot of different people. So I generally don't discriminate when I'm putting it together, when I'm putting my mailer together, okay? But one thing to keep in mind is sometimes you just gotta drop it down. So here's the Clint approach. You could also do it a different way. You could make a smaller area. You could choose something different. I actually don't know. Here's the 2 things that I normally do to cut the list down, okay? Hopping back over to data tree is I like to come down here and highlighting on the screen last sale date, okay? Last sale date. So if you think what could potentially be an indicator of somebody who wants to sell their land, well, it's people who have owned it for a long time, right? I can tell you after a bunch of deals, probably 80% of our deals, people have owned the land for 8 years or more, all right? So what you can come in here and do is you can say, hey, the last sale date, I want to make sure that it was before this date. And now we're going to come in here and choose a date 8 years ago. That'd be 2013. This is very arbitrary what date you choose. Now if I push get count, that's gonna take it down to 3,800, all right? So now we're getting closer. Maybe you wanted to send 2,000 letters. So maybe you just take half of this one or whatever. Or we could go even further, jumping back over to data tree. You can go over here and say mailing state is not, and this is Arizona. Arizona. Push get count. Okay, we're at 2,600. So what we've done is we've taken our area, we've got all the vacant land leads that meet our criteria, and the list was too big. So what do? We combed it down. And this is how I normally comb it down. The first thing I do is last sale date, and the second thing I do is out of state. Now here's what I'll tell you. I have bought from people that are on the opposite sides. They're in the same state. They have bought the property within the last 8 years. So it's not all inclusive, it's not perfect, but it's a good way to kind of trim the list down if it's too big or what have you. So hopping back over to data tree, I wanna show you that that number you see isn't actually always what you end up with, okay? So jumping back over here, I am going to go to export this, all right? And either this video or the next video, I have this template for you. I have this mailing template for you. And so you just need to come in here and set it up like this. It's really just drag and drop, but I have all these templates, these fields for you in an Excel sheet. So you can just look at those and you can add them here. But so the template's already set up. I only had to do that one time. And so this is how I always export it. So I don't have to mess around with it. I just push export, choose the template. And so you can go set this up in yours, okay? So if I went to export this file, okay, here's my naming, here's my nomenclature if you're care to know. I put the area. Okay, so the area that we're mailing. I put the acreage range. So for this one example, it was 4 to 45. And then I put what kind of things that we add on to it. OOC is out of county. You could do the same thing as out of state, just out of the county. We also do out of state. That's my general nomenclature, okay? Once you click this and you push remove duplicate owners and you push order, okay? What's gonna happen is this list is going to just about cut in half. Okay, it's not always in half, maybe it's 70% or 60%. But this is why I love data tree, because most other providers, you'll have to print all these duplicate lines of data. For example, if somebody owns 29 properties, you're gonna print off 29, like their name 29 times, you're gonna pay for whatever your price per record is 29 times. And so when you push remove duplicates and you take it down, I could guarantee that list would probably jump down to like 11 or 1200. I'm not gonna push it right now because my team is actually working in the software as we speak, but if you push that, from my experience, you normally lose 30 to 50%. So keep that in mind for when you're ready to export. So if it says 2,600, you're probably gonna get around 1,500 out of it, right? And it will always vary on the amount of duplicates. But I love data tree for the fact that they don't make you pay for duplicates, and that, well, it's just a great tool all around. All right, so that takes us to the end of setting your search criteria video. Basically what we've done here is we've taken the previous information of choosing our market, we've outlined that market in our mapping software, and now we need to trim it down to what meets our criteria, right? A few videos back, we talked about what kind of deals you should be targeting. I encourage you to look at that little handout, that little goal sheet we set, and use that. Even if it's wrong and you don't do it, use that as your example as you walk through this course. All right, hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video. And hey, just want to give you a quick reminder, if you need more support on this stuff, we have built a very affordable mastermind program where you can not only get more in-depth trainings, more examples, etc., but you'll be surrounded by hundreds of other investors, and you even have access to me multiple times a month, and all of my coaches. You can get on their calendar every single week to talk through this. So if that's something that's really holding you back, I can guarantee you get a bunch of value out of that. So feel free to click the button below, somewhere around this video. If that's something you're interested, book a call to our team, and we would love to chat with you a little more. All right, for real this time. I'll see you in the next video.